Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. I am so excited because after a year and a half of waiting, the day has finally arrived. I went to my mail and there was a big box waiting, and inside was Scarface 1920, the board game. That's right, if you've been following this Kickstarter, then you know that it's on the way, but if you're considering buying this retail and you're not totally sure, stick around. We're going to open this box, we're going to take a look at what's inside, and then we're going to see if I think that it's worth all that money. So, we're talking all things Scarface 1920. Okay, so as mentioned, today we are going to go ahead and open the box for Scarface 1920. Now, this is a huge box. Just looking at it as it sits in my hands, it's heavy. There is a lot going on inside, and if you followed this Kickstarter, then you know that Scarface 1920 is the inaugural game from a new company called Redzen Games. They got all the miniatures from a company called Big Child Creatives, and it's a big undertaking to have something of this heft, I think, for your first go. There is something like 600 plus components just in the base box that you're going to see here. And that doesn't include any of the Kickstarter exclusive goals, the stretch goals that were unlocked along the way. And that includes everything from different miniature sculpts for backers to different miniature sculpts on the thugs that are inside this box, linen finishes for all the cards, the Enforcers expansion pack, which we're going to dive into a little bit, and all sorts of cool upgrades and add-ons that became available because when they started, the game only really had a funding goal of about $50,000. They blew way past that, hit over $900,000 in their final total from backers all over the world, and it brought us what I think is a pretty cool product. But what am I looking for as we dive into this beast? I talked to some friends who play a lot of board games regularly, and we sort of agreed that one of the biggest things we look at is how's the art on the box and how's the art inside the box, because I want it to look cool when I pull it out for game nights for years to come. So we're going to look at the art, and then we're going to look at the replayability. We're going to have some upcoming videos where I review what I think of the solo play mode of this game, as well as the standard game mode of this game, just giving some feedback on those different rule sets and how I think that they work. I want to then look at the durability, because when you invest in something like this, it can be really easy to make cheap components that just don't hold up to repetitive gameplay. And we're not going to know that here, but I'm going to show you what I think of them on initial impression. And one thing Redzen really claims to invest in is strong components that immerse you in the game. And they really did spend a lot of time, or so they say, considering the durability of the components for long-term use. So I want to show you what's in here, and then we're going to talk a little bit more at the end about whether or not I think this is worth buying. So let's take the lid off and dig into the box. So I'm going to start by taking the lid off this box. I already started because it's quite a hefty lid to get off. But as soon as it's off, we just take a look at the front. And we can see here, of course, the gang bosses at the top, the Scarface 1920 font right underneath it. Really thematically cool. The concept art all along. And of course, every side of the box has either Capone or Elliot Ness on it. Nice cover. It's a solid, engaging start to what's inside, and if I saw that in my local game store, I'd probably at least stop and pick it up and check it out. Inside, they have that black liner that they discussed adding on the Kickstarter. What I love about this is it really makes the box feel more elegant. It really adds, it feels like that box could go on forever, but it doesn't, of course. It makes the outside, which is dark, and the inside really compatible. I think that's beautiful. So for art, that cover is definitely a win. The cardboard of the box is pretty sturdy as well. I do notice on the actual base box, one of my corners started to rip, but I think that's because I just didn't handle it very well. And I think there's so much in this box that is bound to happen. But the cardboard feels sturdy, pliable, but not like, oh, I'm going to rip this apart in my hands. So I do think, you're going to want to be a little careful with the box, but not like, oh, I have to handle it with kid gloves or anything. Right inside the box at the top, they have this Kickstarter sort of like newspaper style thing. If you backed it, your name's in here somewhere. And then they outline what all of the Kickstarter exclusives were. The Gametrayz and the Enforcer expansion were add-on gifts that came for free above certain levels. I think those will be retail. I don't know. I would imagine they will be, and I think you'll see that you actually do want them. But as for like the ring, I don't know if that's going to come in the retail box or not. You will get a token for it, but I don't know if the physical ring will be there. So some things to consider when you're buying is some of this was truly Kickstarter exclusive. You're still getting a ton of stuff in this box, and I'm going to show you. I've spent some time with it. I really do think there's a lot here, whether or not you have some of these add-ons. So after the cover in that newsletter, the next thing in the box is, of course, the standard rulebook. And this is great. It's not quite as big as the box, but it is a decent size, beautifully printed, easily laid out. Really looking forward to diving into that, but I do want to show you just for context what that looks like in the box. So you can see, not quite as big as the edges of the box. I think that's okay. It still fits in really nicely. I don't notice it rattling around when the box is closed. It seems to hold really well. So you have the rule book right there, and then immediately after, the solo mode rules, which are the same size as the rule book. So you're getting two beautiful pamphlets. The solo mode is not quite as thick, but they sit well on top of each other. They sit well in the box. That's a win in my book. And you get that beautiful cover art again. You get the kind of newspapery feel with the solo mode rules. Really, really cool. I do love that. After the cover, after the Kickstarter newsletter, after the rule books, the next thing that you're going to find in this box is the game board. Now, the game board is a little bit too big, obviously, for me to just lay out here, but I am going to do my best just to, I want to open it, show you guys sort of how big it is and what it looks like. There's some great photos that you can find on the Kickstarter page if you're there, but there it is. Like I said, it's massive. Really well printed all the way to the edges. It looks really cool. It folds up in 6 panels. 6 really sturdy panels that are made of this nice thick cardboard with a nice back texture, smoother on the front, but nice color to it that is not being done justice in this particular light. But just something to note there is it is really expansive as a game board. You will need a bigger table to lay this guy out on, or some space on the floor, but I think this is going to hold up. It seems really well made on first impression, and I'm actually going to pull out in a little bit. I got the neoprene playmat as well, and I'm kind of fond of both. I think there's situations in which I would use both, so I'm going to put this down for now, but we're going to come back to this in a little bit when I want to go over the playmat. Because I do think this is one of the better game boards I've held. Sometimes they're so cheap and flimsy. This one doesn't feel that way to me. After we get past the game board, now we're getting into the actual component part of the box. One thing I really value in a board game is when the storage inside the box makes sense. So I really want everything to have a place to fit well in the box. And there are a few issues in this box that I'll go over, but generally, Redzen really paid attention to how that all works together. So, like, for example, I'm just going to pick this up and show you. Once we get past the initial board and pamphlets, the rule books, you get into what these Gametrayz, where these Gametrayz sit. And this was one of those free gifts that most backers, I think all backers got, but I'm hoping they keep in the retail version because you're really going to want these, I think, for long-term storage of this game. The initial 3 on top, 2 of them come empty, which are more compartmentalized. This guy here, which holds the barrels and the gun minis, what I love about this is it's very secure. I don't think these are going to fall out, and I'm just going to show you. So if I put that in there, sit side by side, put the box down for a minute, I'm going to take that out. And I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm just going to hold it. I'm not holding the lid. I'm holding the bin. That's not going anywhere. I think that is worth it for the storage of all these little pieces alone, because otherwise I'd have to have separate bags. So a win on that game tray. But what about the other game trays? What about the ones with all the other components? So as you can see, this one has... So I went through, there were 6 punch-out sheets in the box, I think. I punched out all of it and figured out if it would fit in these component trays, and it absolutely does. So you have tokens, and they give you enough of the little marker business tokens in the cardboard to have 5 of each one in each of these game trays. So 10 total for each one, as well as over 100, I think like 110 of the money markers, of the cardboard money markers, and I divided those up, and it's a bit of a squeeze for those, but they do actually all fit in these two trays. And so if I just pop that off, and these are probably gonna fall out a little bit if I show it to you, so I'm gonna try not to have that happen. I'm gonna take some of the extra money off the top, skimming the money, Scarface, kidding. It's hard to turn exactly, but you can see here's your business marker tokens, and then here are all the money, 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, and they fit in here. Again, I was able to get everything to line up so that the cover could go on and stay on. If I'm just gonna put that back on there. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the first one. So once it's snapped in place, turn it over, look at that. Stays on, nice and secure. Beautiful storage crosswise on here. It fits the box perfectly. They don't slide around and out, but it's not a squeeze to get these in there. But then when we get past that, we're gonna take those out, and underneath the gang trays. And by that I mean all 4 of the gang member trays, one for each player, is fit underneath these. So you can see there are 2 here, blue and then purple, and we'll get more into that in a minute. And then underneath, once I pull out those 2, are 2 more. And so you get all 4 lined up like that. And in each of those trays, you have all the minis that a particular player is going to need. And finally, underneath that, as you can see, as I start to pull them out, is the bottom. And we're gonna get to the bottom in just 1 minute. I'm gonna put this over here for a minute. And we're gonna turn around. We're gonna look at this game tray for all the players. So again, same solid test, right? It's doing fine. But then if I take that lid off and I show you what's inside, really well laid out. You've got thug miniatures on either side. You've got your boss miniature up here, car and truck tokens here, and building tokens here. And so for that, each player gets a tray of their own. And I love that. I love the individual trays, making it easier to get to your own pieces. I love the shared trays with all the smaller components that allow you to spread them across the table. And these miniatures are, in my opinion, very well made. I love minis. I buy a ton of minis. I paint and print my own minis. I'm the big nerd you've been waiting for to tell you. These minis are solid. Good bases, good connections. I don't know if I'm going to paint these, only because I like the color for making sure people know which pieces are theirs. But the house minis are all great. Now, if you didn't back the Kickstarter, I don't know if you're getting the individual sculpts, but these minis are solid and they're the same color, obviously. The trucks are, durable. I don't feel like I'm going to break that. The cars, same deal. Beautifully sculpted. Tons of detail. I'm in love. I think that this art-wise wins and durability-wise wins. Replayability, we'll find out, but I don't know if that has anything to do with the minis. So we pulled out all the gang trays, and now we get to the bottom. And this is, this is where we get a little bit of an issue, but I'm going to explain what I mean by that, because I don't know that it's as big an issue as it first seems. So I'm going to do my best to hold this up and show you the inside of this box. And you're seeing some stuff moving there, but it's nothing that I wouldn't expect to move. Everything has a slot down here, and I really appreciate that about the inside of this box. Gametrayz created a bottom for this box, and you get these little mini player screens. I don't love the size on these. This is a gripe I definitely have. I wish that the mini player screens were bigger. I think that could have filled this holder, and just really taken up more space, but until I play with them, maybe I'll be wrong about that. I wish these were bigger on initial impression. The art is really good on them. On the back, there's some helpful info. I just wish they were bigger. There are 4 of them in here. Then we get into the actual player mats. And so again, if I just hold that up, you can see those are slotted in. Those aren't moving because they have their own slot in the box. So if I pull one out, these are great. These are awesome. They are thick cardboard. They've got the little mini cube slots where you put your mini little marker cubes, and each player gets a dozen of these. Same color as your gang color, so you always know which pieces are yours. You then flip it over, and your solo rules are on the back. This is big. It's easy to read. but it's not going to take up all the space on the table, which is good because that game board is probably going to take up all the space on the table. But we get 4 of those. Not so bad. I like it. I like it. And then we get 4 player aid cards, and these have all the rules, turn order, things to remember. When I'm teaching somebody a game, things like this are invaluable, and I love that Redzen, knowing that this game was a little more complex, put 4 of these in here, and they're well protected in a bag that fits them. They sit right under where the player cards go. They have a slot there. I love it. With that out of the way, there's a few more things to show here, but there's only one more thing that has a big slot, and that's these sort of player cards here. Maybe a little bit hard to see inside of that box, but they're like these 3-tile punch-out pieces that come on the cardboard sheets. And what they are is like starting mats that go along with your player stuff, as far as I can tell. And I do like that. It's to help, I think, mark the number of markers you have for various things in the game. But I love how sturdy that feels. It's got the nice Scarface 1920 art on the back. It just feels solid. It's a little pliable because it's that cardboard, but I like it. I think that feels nice. So there are 4 of those. And like I said, they do have a slot literally in the bottom where they sit. They fit, there's a groove where they fit in there. So they're going to sit stable. And if I pull those out, then we finally get to the bottom of the box. And here's where the Gametray, you'll see. So here's where my issue is. First of all, I want you to look at that box. Look how beautiful that side art is all around that box. They really thought the design through on this to keep it engaging to look at no matter what. And then inside is that same black liner that was in the top lid. So it really feels like a uniform box. It looks really nice. And then you get into this bottom and you can see there are the various card slots all throughout the bottom here for the solo mode, the gang cards, the associate cards, the job cards, news cards, raid cards, and when it's sitting flat, obviously some of this stuff isn't going to fall. There's also slots for minis and tokens off to one side. The newspaper boy token is over there. Here's the thing, and they said this was going to happen, but I'm going to say this and then I'm going to put some preface on it. So I put everything in the box, punched everything out, fit everything where it went, and then I opened up the Sleeve King card sleeves that were an add-on you could buy, but they also came if you backed above a certain level. I love the card sleeves. I think they make perfect sense for keeping these cards fresh and easy to look at. And as promised, there are enough of them in the box to cover every card you're going to get. You can actually, I don't know, it's a little hard to see on there, but you can actually see how they sit in there. They sent you, based on the size of the card, enough card sleeves to cover all those. And additionally, that's the news card. Additionally, there are enough card sleeves in the pack to cover the Enforcers pack, the extra Newsboy cards, pretty much every card you're going to have if you bought everything possible, and then some. So over 250 card sleeves, definitely enough. But once we put the sleeves on, we have a problem. I can get every card that came in the base box back in. I can put the cards that came with the Enforcers pack back in the box. It's okay. But in order for them to all fit so that the box, then I can stack the game trays, the player trays, everything back on top, I did have to rearrange a little bit. So I do want to clarify something. If you put all of the cards back where they go with their sleeves on, they're not going to fit. But you can actually rearrange this box enough to get all the cards to fit in here and then layer everything else on top, and they're not going to move. So that is important to know. A little more work. Not my favorite, but they did tell us that was going to happen, and I was concerned the cards wouldn't fit. They do fit. It's just going to take some creative placement. So something to be aware of, and I just want to put that out there for you now. With all of that said, there's a few more things in this box. If you don't get the 3D printed ring, let me grab that. Here's the 3D printed ring. I'll try to post some close-up photos of that as well. Really beautifully printed. I might actually paint this guy if I decide to get with it. If you backed the game, you're going to get these little gang markers customized with the name of each gang. If not, I think they're just the color. You're also getting the little police car minis. There are 3 of those in the box. You're getting all of these cardboard neighborhood tiles. I kind of wish these were laminated or printed cards, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to have an issue with them. They are that thick cardboard, so I think they're going to hold up. Just going to be more careful with these. And then the Elliot Ness Mini And if you backed it, the extra Al Capone mini are in here as well. And again, same beautiful mini printing. Those ones I might actually take the time to paint if I feel up to it. So I think that's pretty cool. There's some extra little tokens and such throughout the box that all do have a slot. And I can post a picture of that later if you guys want. Not a problem. I'm very happy with the layout of this box overall, and as I'm just going to start slowly sort of putting stuff away, I need to remember to do this in the right order. I'm gonna go ahead and put the player screens in, as well as the aid cards, so those all fit in their slot. Oh wait, I'm missing. Hold on. So again, it does take some thinking to put this back in the box, but I'm not surprised by that. A lot of games aren't even this well designed that they would have thought about all those extra slots. But in this case, it's not that bad to put away. I like it. I'm putting those in. That's all the cards. Putting all the Gametrayz back in. Make sure that guy's closed. I'm cross-stacking just for my own sanity because things like that drive me nuts. And then I'm putting in the final Gametrayz. We're back where we started. You can see how nicely that fits. Then I'm going to pick up my lid here where I put some of the other components. I'm going to take the game board, the 2 rule books, as well as that little newsletter that I got, stick the lid back on, and voila, everything's in there. Everything is in there. And it seems to be flush, or mostly flush. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with how that sits. So that's the base box, but we're going to open that back up because I'm not actually done with that. I just wanted to show you that. We have a lot of other cool bits and bobs that you can either buy, or I'm hoping will eventually be retail as well for those who get it. So we're going to go back to that player board in a minute. First and foremost, we have, I got it, the Enforcers expansion pack. So this is a free gift, I believe, to all backers thanks to the stretch goals. If I pull this guy out, so first of all, you get on the bottom additional rules for running these guys. Another game tray that has all of the various components, your minis, your colored bases, your punch-outs, and the cards. And I went ahead and put the card sleeves on there, and they actually still fit in the bag they came with. So I'm keeping that bag for safety. There's your cards. They look great. I'm very happy. Same quality, same art. We'll get into the art of the cards in a minute. Colored bases, like I said, the same quality of miniature for each of the 3 Enforcers. Those I might paint. I'm actually curious about painting those just because, you know what, I'm going to stop saying that. Maybe I think I'm committing myself to a lot of painting. So we're going to go ahead and put all of this back. And it really is a nice little expansion, especially as a gift for this game. So, and it fits, you know, right back in its box. It won't store in the big box, unfortunately. Maybe at some point they'll release a box like they do for some games that fits everything. But it's got its own box. That art is just great. Each of the Enforcers on the front, the same kind of logo font. Nice explanation of what's in it on the back. And, you know, very clearly an expansion. They tell you you need the core game. I got the core game. So there it is. I just wanted to put all that together to show you sort of the basics that I know are available. Now, there are a few other things that I was very fortunate to get because I am really excited and I bought everything. I hope that's not my folly, but it certainly will be your gain if you're considering looking at that stuff. A few things that came with the game. So for backers above a certain level, we got these wooden crates. I love the idea. I love the concept. They have these kind of crappy plastic lids on them, but it does keep it closed on top. And then they've, oh, see, I almost dropped it. And it's very durable. I've dropped these several times already because I'm very clumsy. They've got Scarface 1920 printed on the sides. These are meant to hold components while you're playing the game. They don't fit in the box. I know they said that was going to happen. It does bother me a little bit. I guess I love the concept because it's thematically really cool, but I would just put a lot of pressure on. I'm only ever going to pull this out if I'm playing at home. I don't think I would ever spend the time to haul this with me to a game night. Because the box is really heavy already. This is one extra little tiny thing I have to worry about. But I do like them. They're cool. They're colored well. They're another thing that came with it. It's cool. I'm not opposed to it. I just, you know, if I was going to say art-wise, great. They seem durable, great. Functionality, you could take it or leave it, in my opinion. Okay. I also got the extra set of miniatures. So if you see this as an add-on or in the store, this is 17 miniatures, several Thug minis from across the various gangs, as well as an additional Al Capone, and I believe, yes, an additional Elliot and Ness mini. And I'm just going to take that off there because they're not coming out of there unless I give them a pull, I don't think. You can see same quality, just no color, right? So gray Elliot Ness, which we had in the box, gray Al Capone, so I could paint that one if I wanted a painted one. And the Thugs, maybe I could just paint as additional. Do you need this? No, but if you're playing the game a lot, maybe your minis get worn out, maybe they break, you've got some extras. It was an add-on that came in the price I paid, so I'm not opposed to it. I would have to play enough to know if these were actually worth having. I can imagine a situation where they might be, though, especially if you're doing a lot in the game. Maybe these haven't a use. But same solid quality, so the art's there, durability seems to be there. I like that. Additionally, I got the upgraded tokens. Now, again, this came as part of the pledge. I think I got the pledge with absolutely everything in it. These are just thick business tokens. So like the, let me grab them out here. Like the ones in the Gametray that fit in the Gametray. I don't think these are going to fit in the Gametray just because of their size. But they did come in this bag, which I'm sure if I looked I could find a spot in the box for it. But if not, I mean, there's other ways I could store these. I'm going to retrieve that in a minute. With this, they're different sizes, definitely. The plastic is a lot thicker, and the printing is just as good. But in terms of durability, this little cardboard token, not as big a fan. In terms of durability, this wins out. These are a lot thicker though, and they do take up space. So like the crates, you get enough of these to replace all of the cardboard ones in the box. It's another thing I'm gonna have to hold a game night. So maybe at home, great for use. I really love how they feel. If I can think of a clever way, maybe I'll just stuff it all in the bag. I don't know. Great addition for not a lot of money, especially if you think you're going to use this game a lot. This plastic is thick. It's well printed. It doesn't seem like that's going to come off. I like these. Same vein, and maybe this is where I store all of this. The money tokens. Oh yeah, it is printed on both sides. The money tokens. So like the cardboard money that comes in the game and all the denominations, one of the add-ons they created that I love is these plastic money tokens. And each set comes in its own plastic baggie, which is great for storage, for keeping it separate. Maybe end up being a lot more work than I want it to be, but either way, when you pull this out, it is this gorgeous thick plastic that really does feel nice to play with. It's nowhere near as pliable as that cardboard, so that feels great. Aesthetically, looks awesome. When you compare them side by side, the plastic is about the same size thickness wise, so they don't, you know, maybe I could just replace all the ones in here with the plastic ones. The only concern I have about these is that the money printing on them, the actual like bill print, I'm a little worried it's going to get scratched off, because I can feel it on my thumb. It feels like the money, like the kind of the softer, the cardboard almost. I'm worried if I'm going to scratch that off. So that's something I'm going to be looking for as I continue to play this game, is if these will hold up. So you get enough tokens to replace every token in the game. That's really awesome. It is another thing to carry. That is something I would be considering in terms of whether or not I'm going to take all this with me to game night. We'll find out. Let's go on to this bad boy. So this is the Newsboy Mini. What I love about this mini is it comes in its own packaging, and you get extra Newsboy cards with it. They print those in every language the game is in. So you can buy this mini anywhere, and you're going to get it in probably a language you can use right away. I love that. And what I mean by that is there's literally like 9 cards in here. And I put the English cards in their card sleeves because those are the ones I'm going to use. Three additional cards, but you also get all of the extra language cards as mentioned. And then the mini itself is in there in a nice little packaging. It's not moving around in there. I think eventually I'm going to stick this in the box, but for the sake of showing you all this here, you know, it closes up well, put all the cards back in there. You know, I don't think that's going to break. It's not falling out of that plastic inside there. Really cool replacement for the white token in the box. But I kind of got this because I thought, I get the extra cards, I get the little figure, I like the minis. Nice little add-on, and if I saw that in a local game store, I'd probably pick that up. So that's some of that. Again, any of this you want to know more about, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to post some pictures if I can. The goal here, of course, being I want you to know what you're getting, because this was not cheap. I want it to be reasonable for you if you're going to choose to invest that money. A few more things that I got that I don't know are going to be available, but I just wanted to show you. So I got these cool posters. One of Elliot, Ness, one of Al Capone, printed on international standard paper, not American paper, so I'm going to have to figure that one out, but oh well, boo-hoo. These are great. They're double-sided. They feel really nice. They're going to be kind of cool to display if I figure out a way that I like. And they came in this kind of convention-style art holder, so I like that for the sake of, you know, just keeping them safe until I choose how to frame them. They're nerdy. They're really, I don't think they have anything to do with the game other than that they're just cool additional pieces to have to show it off, which is really the same as this piece here, which is the art book. This is just concept art from the game with some cool info inside. What I love about that is, you know, I mean, I'm just nerdy for it. So this is a cool showpiece to have. The book is not huge. It's about as wide as the main box is. Maybe it'll fit in there, probably not. Why would I put it in there? Gosh, I don't know. I just find pieces like this cool. So that's the art book. It's not long. I think it's only like 120 pages long. You get some of the concept drawings in the back, as well as the art from the game. Speaking of the art, I pulled out a few of the cards just so you could see those. The raid card clearly says what it is on the back. That's nice. Nice printed front here. The art is beautiful. Clearly lays out what it's for. Same with the job card. Job. Nice art on there, continuing that art theme from the box. The news card says news on the back. Has a little kind of newspaper front. I wish these were bigger. I don't really understand mini cards like this in games. It kind of annoys me because I have big frickin' hands. But you know what? So be it. Hey, it looks cool. And honestly, it's not hard to read. It's very straightforward. I like it. So art-wise, this game is kicking butt, in my opinion. Literally down to an art book. Some gripes about storage, some things like that. But hey, I can deal. Oh, right. The Neoprene playmat. So we had mentioned before, let me pull it out here, this board. Look at that. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I do think the board is well designed. It's sturdy. One add-on you can get, though, and this may or may not be available retail, maybe on their website, who knows, is a Scarface 1920 neoprene playmat. It comes in this tube. It's got the Scarface 1920 logo on the side. It's got a drawstring up top for you to pull it closed. Guys, I'm going to be really honest with you here. I love the playmat. I love the colors on it. I'm going to show you that in a minute. I hate this playmat and how it goes back in this tube. And I'm sorry, Redzen. I think it's a great idea. I'm probably going to use the playmat, but you're going to see I'm going to struggle to even just take this thing out of its bag. And that's open all the way. I'm going to have to scrunch it at the top. Fortunately, it's neoprene. It's fine. I'm going to have to pull really, really hard. And this, when I took it out of the tube the first time, no problem. Went back in. It was great. I'm going to pull it out, though. There it is. It's out. It doesn't roll up well. It's very floppy. But look at the color on that. And I'm going to see if I can get a better light on that. Look at the color on that. That is gorgeous. And it's flexible, right? So it's going to lay on a lot more surfaces than this is. And if I just open this up for comparison, color is different between the two. It looks nice. I love it. I love both. I'm probably only ever using this at home, if I'm being completely honest. If I bring it with me to a game night, and I might, I don't know, I always say stuff like that, and I'm usually grumpy about it. If I bring it with me, I need a second person to help me put it away. I found that out yesterday. That seems like I'm like just lazy or incapable. I'm not kidding you. I rolled this thing up as tight as I could and tried to stick it in. And the minute I tried to stick it back into the tube or the bag, it just started unrolling on me. And it was such a pain in the ass. I eventually just waited until my partner could help me do it. Okay. But I do love it. I love how colorful it is. And I love the sort of durability of this, especially because these game boards are great, but who knows how long this thing lasts. This guy, very likely to last unless I'm just not treating it well. You're going to abuse the crap out of it, spill stuff on it. You're going to be fine. But again, it's hard to put away, hard to take out. We'll see. We'll see if I use it. I just wanted to show you, and if I remember, I'll post like an overview of it. I think I did shoot an overview of this when I was looking at it yesterday. So we'll see. I'm not even going to... This thing, I don't want to roll it up. I'm just going to put it over here. And now for some final thoughts. This game is gorgeous. Durability wise, I think a lot of it is there. Some of that will come with time, but they design stuff well. The way stuff sits in this box, the way that the pieces are designed, like the miniatures, I feel good about them. If you got all of the add-ons, all of the exclusive, all the card sleeves, and everything in the core box, you're looking at over 1,000 pieces, almost 1,100 pieces that come in everything. And not everyone is going to get everything, but in the core box alone, over 600, plus the several hundred card sleeves, plus the add-ons. That's a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that kind of is supposed to be used with the game. I don't know that I'm going to haul it every time. The crates, the neoprene playmat, the extra tokens, the extra money. We're going to find out. I just love that I have it as replacements for stuff as they wear out. We'll see if it holds up over time. I think this game is going to be cool. If you see this retail and you were curious what the inside of the box is, now you know. And I hope it gives you an idea of whether or not it might be something you'd like. There are great playthrough videos out there already. Like I said, I'm going to post some reviews myself about what I think about that once I get into it. So like and subscribe for that content. But until next time, I hope that you've enjoyed looking through the box for Scarface 1920 with me. Thanks so much. I'm Glenn Thompson. I'll see you next time.